Welcome to the MMA Podcast. My name is Luke Payson, and I am honored to have newly crowned champ of New Line Cagefighting, the champ, Lucas, the Sniper Seibert. Lucas, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm great. It's the first time I got to introduce you as the champ. I was really excited by that. Probably not as excited as you are. Let's jump right into the fact that you're now remain undefeated 4-0. You fought for the New Line Cagefighting Championship Saturday night, a day before Mother's Day. I know your mom was there. You wrote a lot of posts about that. So let's just jump in. What was it like being able to win the belt the night before Mother's Day? Your mom there, and what has that been like for you to get that big win? You did have a finish in the first round by TKO due to ground and pound. For people that might not know, it was incredibly impressive. Take it away.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. The experience fighting for New Line was really cool. And I think, you never know what to expect when you go to a new promotion. The West Virginia, like the Bridgeport area was like super, super nice. The complex we fought in was super nice. And they just treated us like above it. They went above and beyond with everything. And then like you mentioned, like fighting day before Mother's Day, it was surreal. I obviously moved out here to Pittsburgh not too long ago, so I don't see my mom as much as I would like. So it was awesome to have her there. I knew where she was sitting. It like while I was fighting and stuff, so it was cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that live, knowing that your mom's there live makes a big difference. You also went to college, wrestled for WU, which is about half hour, maybe 45 minutes above where you're fighting. So that had to be nice as well, representing West Virginia University in West Virginia. I'm sure it was very exciting for you. Walk through the fight as long as it lasted. I think it was just over a minute, maybe a minute and a half. When I remember the official result being somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it was like probably like a minute and 20-ish, something like that.
Somewhere in
Um,
that range. So walk it through for us, because your opponent was 2-1. You were coming off your rear naked choke win for Cage Thunder against a guy who had 6 fights. This guy had 3. He was 2-1. You were 3-0. Well matched fight. What happened in there in the first round? Obviously, it went very quickly.
yeah, he like that kid's striking was like super good. When I was watching film on him, so we spent a lot of time in this camp. Getting my striking good defensively, which is something that kind of like I wouldn't say I lacked, but I never really trained. So all my natural ability was just like pulling and stuff. Head kicks were legal in this fight. This kid actually like threw a lot of head kicks, so it was a really good fight to learn. We come out. I thought he was gonna throw a lead side head kick, so I went to block and do like my step into block, plant my leg, and he actually went to my leg, landed a nice leg kick, bounced out, and then he went to throw a head kick, and I went to block it, and he pulled it because he knew I was gonna block it, and then I double legged him, and then from there, I was just trying to get past guard. He threw up like a submission maybe. I landed a couple punches, and I landed one really nice connective punch, and he kind of like turtled up, and I just finished it from there.
Yeah, the creativity. Thanks for quite literally, the blow by blow of what happened from your perspective, which is great. I was there live. Hats off and shout out to the New Line Championship promoter Eric, because he allowed me to be there to cover it, which was really nice of him and much appreciated. So I got to see you work live. What was interesting is talk a little bit about your barrage to get the finish, because what people may not know, when somebody turtles up, protecting here, kind of fetaled, turtled up, you have to be careful what you throw, because you can't hit the back of the head, you can't hit the spine. You did a barrage to his side, rib cage, and then a lot to the head. And how aware were you to kind of be creative? You were throwing a variety. You didn't just focus on one target.
Yeah, what's weird is so the referee was Chip Snyder, who was my referee first fight when I knocked the kid out.
Yeah.
And everybody in that fight was like, why did the ref, like, why did you have to follow up after you knocked him out? Because, like, I hit in my first fight, dropped the dude, and he was like, he was done. But I had to land body punches because it was the PA rules. And I think, when that kid went to Turtle, I think the PA rules kind of helped me because I went and I landed like hammer fist to the head. He's shelling up, and I hammer fisted to the body. And then, he went down to protect his body. I landed one left hand. Chip stepped in there. But I honestly think, in hindsight, like while I'm envisioning it in my mind, I remember thinking that like I saw his ribs and just went for him. And I'd been in that position before. So that's kind of a full circle thing. But yeah, man, I wanted to get kind of a submission win or something. I thought that's kind of how it was going to go. But sometimes opportunity presents itself. I think I think one of the punches must have like connected well on him, and he kind of just shelled up from there.
Yeah, from what I remember and rewatching it on Facebook, it looks like you hit him once really well on the ground. He turtled. Then he was shelled up. You went to his body. He went down to protect the body, and you got another really good one into his head. And a really good, obviously, shout out to Chip Snyder. He's done a lot, refed a lot. But it also shows how, because you've been on this show to say that while the Pennsylvania amateur novice rule set is limiting, it allows fighters to build. And you've even pointed out, like, it allows you to develop your skills. And you just kind of showed how being more creative. I've seen, this was in Philly years ago, I saw a novice amateur use knees to the side of an opponent on the ground to get a finish.
247.
Yeah, there's all types of ways to finish. So I think you being creative is really good. It's interesting that you said you wanted a submission win. Why do you as a fighter prefer, obviously you train out of Immortal Martial Arts, where that's kind of your home where you started. Now you're mainly out of Stout Pittsburgh. Is it because you want to kind of show off the submission skills? Like obviously a finish is a finish. You've had 4 wins, 3 submissions, 2 by knockout, 1 by rear naked choke. So do you prefer submission over TKOs? Is that like your own preference?
Not really. Just kind of like how I like imagined in my head it ending. I thought it was gonna be pretty similar. I thought I was gonna get kind of like a John Jones guillotine against the cage finish or something along those lines, or a Darce or something like a front headlock finish. But it didn't really present itself. So, but I think I'm really big on imagery and kind of like play by play in my head for the fight, and that was just constantly what was going through my head. Pretty similar actually, but he did a really good job of just protecting his head in that position. So I just decided to punch it out. And once I saw that he kind of gave up a little bit, I just decided that was the route we were going to go.
And it is part, I mean, you've talked before about your sports psychology background and how you really at W and how you really think things through, but it also shows that you're making intelligent decisions during your fight. Like you're dictating where it goes with your double leg, you're dictating what you do. And one thing, and we've seen this at every level, particularly in MMA, sometimes people get too dialed in on one way to win. And we've seen people like, let's say you dive in and try to go for the naked choke, you might have been able to shake you off. That would be hard to do for you because you're very good. But we've seen people overcommit and get taken off type things. So really, really intelligent fighting. I do want to, before we get to the obvious question, you announced in the cage that, and I think you've said it before, that your plan is to turn pro in 2024. So we'll ask about the future a little bit. I have 2 kind of sort of personal fun questions for you. One is, you just passed a year of being graduated from WU. It was like the week before. Talk about that. I remember
I graduated May 13th of 2022, and I fought May 13th, 2023.
It was exactly a year. And I remember when you graduated a year ago, you took some great photos on campus in your cap and gown saying that you're the first person graduated from your family. What does it mean to you to have your 4th fight, 4th win, undefeated in exactly 1 year from your graduation? It's like a storybook, baby.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't. I guess I just keep surprising myself. Like I never thought I was going to graduate college. I was a terrible student. the least intelligent in my family, probably, grade book wise. And I just kept surprising myself, wrestled all 4 years, probably didn't think I was going to make it then, probably would have betted against myself to make it all 4. I graduated and then, jumped in this fighting thing, wasn't sure how it was going to go. And then, just kind of committed everything to it. And I am where I am now in a year. But yeah, it's not, hasn't been exactly, it'll be a year in July.
Yeah.
If I were to hypothetically fight for 247 in July, I would be fighting for the title, possibly a year anniversary from when I made my debut.
Yeah, and let's talk about that if you're comfortable bringing it up. Obviously, you've got a lot of fight opportunities. How motivated are you to take a fight at 135 for a belt? I know they're trying to match 135. I believe it's Miguel Cisco.
Yeah, they're gonna get Miguel for a belt at 135 for sure. So he's gonna take the belt at 35 for 247. Miguel is actually my roommate. I live with him and his father. We're super close. It made the most sense because he wants to go immediately pro. For him to make 135 before he goes pro because he wants to feel it out. I think there's a possibility I might be fighting for the 45-pound title for 247. If they can find somebody. I said,
let's go, Jim Mooney. Let's go, Jim Mooney. Let's go.
I talked to Jim and Hunter not too long ago, like a couple hours ago. And I got offered some names, but I told them I want somebody with like 5 wins and potentially like 1-2 max losses. Like I want somebody that like my strength of schedule, in my opinion, isn't what it needs to be, and I want it to be like top tier, right? I think like if you look at any sport like college football, I'm a big college football fan. Like they usually play like some not great teams. They progressively go higher, and like I said, I want to go pro in 2024. And I think a big thing is getting your hardest fights. Your hardest fight should be your last couple of ammy fights, and then you should kind of regress and take like lower level pro fights, guys that might not even be as good as their last couple of ammy fights. So that's the plan.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. We've talked about it before on this show, I believe, with you, how now it's been about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, but about 2 years ago, Jim Mooney, great matchmaker for 247, and the fighters in the gyms took a fight between a 6-0 undefeated bantamweight in Hunter Starner and a 6-0 undefeated bantamweight at the time, the defending champ in Cam the Mallrat Allgaier. And both of them had every reason to go pro at 6-0, 6-0, because obviously one of them was going to come out with a loss. They took the fight. Cam ended up dropping a great decision fight. It was an incredible fight. And I know like that's the type of quality opponent you're looking for, somebody potentially 145 that has a really great skill set at what you're looking at. So
it could even be that name.
It could be. It could be. I just put it out there. It would be. Yeah, it would be Cam. I know Hunter Starner, who's a friend of the show, he's been on a bunch, has now gone pro successfully. But yeah, Cam the Mallrat Allgaier, who's fighting out of, always has been fighting out of the Gorilla House gym, who now has the 3-time defending 145-pound champ in Ethan the Wolverine Goss. So it's really exciting for people that don't know. 247 has been really ratcheting up the events and the competition. Speaking of coaches, I wanted to ask, I've been looking forward to it. You got your start at the Immortal Martial Arts Center under Matt Brown, of course, named after him, with also Mark the Hammer Coleman. And you kind of talked about that being sort of like Hammer House 2.0. But your 42-year-old coach, Matt the Immortal Brown, just had a fantastic knockout win over Court McGee, who I believe won one of the Ultimate Fighter seasons. What was it like for you to see him do that? He gave an incredible post-fight interview where he's not done and he's still coming. But talk, you know him personally. He's one of the reasons why you got into MMA. So talk about that.
Yeah, Matt's like he's a big inspiration, mentor, everything. I was actually, I like to get a little bit of a workout in day of my fight, you know, you cut weight, eat a bunch, rehydrate, you feel like full. So I always like to like get a workout at like noon. I took a nap. Matt fought around 3. I was working out at Bridgeville and watching Matt's fight, and I I don't. There's no cameras in the Bridgeville location, but if there was, I don't think yet. Actually, there's tons of cameras. Don't do anything wrong. He watched him. I watched him get a knockout, and man, I went crazy. And I texted him, and first off, I put $5 on him to win by knockout, and it won me like $45.
There you go.
Which is crazy that Matt was not like the odds were that crazy.
Yeah.
But I texted him and I was like, dude,
That's
I
like
could hear.
9-1.
Yeah, I could hear Coleman from Pittsburgh is what I told him, because God, he was so loud. But that's how he is, man. I have a great relationship with those guys. My brother gets married in June, so I'm being Columbus a little bit, and I'm obviously gonna go in and train at Immortal while I'm home. Have a great relationship with those guys, but Stout's home now. But you know, being able to see them, still connect with them, still be close to them, have them as like mentors is a blessing that I don't take for granted whatsoever.
Sure. And thanks for sharing that inside look. I know how it is, even just from my position interviewing guys. It gives me a new appreciation when they're in the cage, because I've got to know them a little bit. Obviously, Matt is well beyond that, one of your main beginning coaches and trainers. But let's talk about, we talk about it every time you're on the show, because I know you came on the show right after the 247 awards. It was like the day after we talked about it. But talk about being coached by Mike Wilkins and Coach Will. They were obviously in your corner Saturday, and you just seem to be representing Stout Pittsburgh and kind of their discipline and their skill set incredibly well. There's a bunch of fighters out of Stout, but you're obviously the kind of the cream of the crop of the upcoming fighters from Stout.
Yeah, man. I think I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been Stout versus everybody. And you know, I take a lot of pride in fighting out of Stout. I think it's the best gym in the area. I think it's the best gym now. I think we have potential to be the best in the region, and then I think it's going to go from there. But it's all the coaches. I think Mike and Will together, there's like nobody that like I've ever met that like work that well together. I've been under coaching staffs I've won awards. I've been under coaching staffs that, you know, throughout my wrestling career, but like Mike and Will work so well together, and it's perfect. Mike, for me in particular, is like very similar because he was a wrestler, right? And then Will is kind of that long rangy striking that I need. So it works for me in particular, I think, really well, but they also can kind of they take what you're good at and make it, you know, play to your ability, which I think a lot of coaches don't have the ability to do. And, you know, Will's like a mastermind and kind of, you know, laid back, smiley, giggly, and Mike's kind of like a little kid and he's all over the place, and like he's the energy bunny at points, but he's also the intense one at points. It's a really good mesh. And I was talking, I don't know who I was talking to the other day, but they're also so young that it's like they're like big brothers rather than like dads in a way, or like the old coaching feeling. Like it's like they're like the big brothers and they're just kind of guiding you through everything, and it's awesome, man. I mean, I like them so much, I moved out here and kind of commit my life to fighting for Stout. So, I mean, I trust those guys with my career, trust them with anything to prepare me for anybody. And I truly plan on keeping them around and having them in my corner for however long I do this.
Yeah. Well, you gave a great testimonial from the heart. I remember I had you on the show before you made the trip to Pittsburgh. I mean, you were making it, but before you made the move to Pittsburgh. So it's been incredible to watch you pick Stout, make that transition. I like to throw it out there that Stout currently is the 247 award winning gym of the year and coaching duo of the year, which I think we're going to see that. Like, I was honored to be a part of the 247 award show. And I think 247 did a great job kind of highlighting all the regional gyms, talent, fighters. And I think that's going to become a bigger deal because, like, to your point, you see it as Stout versus everybody. And there's a lot of gym pride and kind of focus on what the coaches are. We've talked, I mean, Coach Isaac Greeley is already a 247 Hall of Famer. The factory is incredible, but there's a lot of talent, a lot of skill set in Pittsburgh. I know you've already talked about kind of what you want to do this summer. Hopefully, potentially, even fighting 145 potentially if a title fight works out there. That would be amazing to see roommates go back to back for MMA belts. I mean, that would be incredible. And that card in July is already going to be special for 247 because it's going to have Sprawl in the Berg BJJ the night before, and then Brawl in the Berg MMA the night after. You've already made a prediction that you want to go pro in 2024. Do you have a number of like 2 more fights, 3 more fights this year? You talked about strength of opponent. What are you looking for in numbers?
So actually I'm talking to Mike, Will, and my manager, Brian Hamper from Sucker Punch tomorrow night. Sure. And we're kind of going to decide from there. There's some people in Pittsburgh that have gone, routes professionally, that have gone through the regional scene. There's some that have gone other routes. And for me, I think I have a lot of options, a lot of cool stuff on the table that I could do straight out of Ammy, or, I could go the other route and, go through the regional scene. We'll see. But I got to win. So yeah. You got to keep winning fights, or nothing really matters, right? So I want really tough Ammy fights. So that's first. I'm either going to fight in July for 247 or in Morgantown in August, depending on, what works out. I'm impartial either way. And then I want to fight ideally I want to fight probably in October for 247. And then me and Will think it's a good idea for me to get a straight fight for Warriors Cup in December, and then probably turn pro April-ish, right? Kind of have like a pro, like 3 months of, training the pro rules, training the elbow, training all the ground stuff. But I also have some cool opportunities. I just got invited to go train for a little bit at Kill Cliff Fight Club in Florida. So I'm going to definitely take that opportunity here in August or something like that. But yeah, man, I'm just super grateful. Sometimes I wake up and I got to pinch myself. I'm like, this is surreal, right? Getting these cool opportunities, winning these belts and stuff. But, just keep working hard, and it seems like everything's just going to work out. So I think I got the right people in my corner, and that's what really matters. Win or lose, you got the right people to guide you in either direction. So I have people that are focused on me doing well and want me to do well for myself, not for like their benefit. So sure. That's what's important to me. And so, but as far as everything, talking tomorrow, sure. Mike, Will, Hamper. So
well, I guess that's one of the things I love about you, that you're willing to come on this show, right? I mean, just days removed. You haven't even really planned ahead, which is wonderful because you're on the show to talk about you winning the new Line Cagefighting belt. Obviously, we got into the future. Once the future is booked, your next fight, whatever that happens to be, because you've got a lot of opportunities, then we'll have you back to talk more about that. I appreciate what you just pointed out too, because I know you like to mentor, you like to be very emotionally and mentally supportive and encouraging to other people. You got to work hard. Nothing's going to just come to you. You have to be able to work hard to be able to then get all these opportunities. You mentioned that very well. I am greatly appreciative of you coming on, and always, from your very first fight, always taking time out from MMA Fancast. So thanks so much, champ. Best skills to you in the future. I personally would love to see you fight for 247 so I can be cage side right up against it and interview you afterwards like I've done many of your fights. So I really appreciate you coming on, and happy belated Mother's Day to your mom and all the moms out there, because it is really cool that you got to win the day before. So thanks so much, champ, for coming on.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Shout out all my sponsors. Shout out, anybody that's helped me along the way. And happy late Mother's Day to my mom. Obviously, we spent some time together yesterday, but love you. Love my dad too. He couldn't make the fight. He was sick, so that kind of sucked. But he was watching from home, and then everybody, all my family to watch, all the people that watched. It's incredible how many people have been like following my career, and as it progresses, and it's just, it's kind of surreal. So yeah, I'm just grateful, man.
Well, I'm grateful for you, and a shout out to all of your sponsors, because that's a big part of you training like a pro, training with that dedication and focus. I say like a pro because you're amateur, but you're basically a pro. This is your focus. This is your career. You've mentioned the business side, the sports side, the support side. So it's a big deal for local sponsorships to get behind kind of up and coming fighters, or fighters before they're known. So it's a big deal. So thanks so much.
Yeah, that being said, buy a t-shirt, MMA TKO, go buy a t-shirt. And then I'm going to post, I got a cool video coming out for Hobo Chic, for the hoodie I was wearing last time we were on the interview. So that's my buddy's company. But buy a t-shirt from MMA TKO. They're going to stay on the website. And while you're there, buy a Brittany Bickard t-shirt as well. Aside from that, I'll see you next time, Payson. Stout versus everybody. We're doing good.
Yeah, and hopefully Brittany Bickard is making her pro debut on
we'll
that
see.
card. They're really working. So, but yeah, go support Sniper, the champ, Seibert. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, brother.
You got
Bye.
it. Yep.